What's up everybody, it's RobinGaming here. So today I am joined here by Oscar and by Ghost, and with E3 coming so close, by the time you're watching this video it should be in about, I think, a little over a week from now, so that's going to be very exciting. But we thought we'd make a video on what games we would really like to see announced at E3. So basically what we mean is games that haven't actually officially been announced yet, that we, just really want either sequels to, or for example new IPs from a certain developer or something like that. So yeah, let's just start off, I would say, and Oscar, I'm giving it to you. Go ahead with your first one.
It may come as a surprise, but Crash Bandicoot is one of the games that I really want to see remade or re-brought to life as a PS4 game. Or I don't really know if they'd make it a multi-platform game. I don't even know if Activision still own the IP for it. I've got no idea.
They do right now. But...
Yeah, they do right now, but there's been like loads of ideas that Sony might buy it back or whatever. I don't even know. But the point was that I really want to see a Crash Bandicoot game. I mean, I know it's a platform game, and those games are going very much downhill. Like, you don't see many of them anymore. But like, I'd love to see like a kind of PS4 HD kind of version of that game, because it's weird actually, because there's loads of remasters of like games from like the PS2 era, like God of War's coming out obviously in July, and yet Crash Bandicoot has never actually been remastered. It's been brought out on PS3 as like a PS1 classic or anything like that, but it's never actually been remastered or anything like that.
But so do you want a remaster more than like an actual new one? Like,
I think I'd like a kind of like both really, like a new Crash Bandicoot game, but also a remaster of those games, because those games were so good. Like I remember playing those when on the PS1, and like, the amount of times I played those over and over again was unreal. So again, seeing a PS4 version would be quite good, but I think I'd rather have a remaster, because like I wouldn't be 100% sure if the games would be as good quality as the original Naughty Dog versions, because like I don't know if any of you have actually played any of the PS2 versions or any of the ones that have actually come after Naughty Dog dropped the series.
On the PSP, and it was horrible.
Yeah, like all the Crash games that seemed to come after it were not very well received at all. Yet the first three, if you're including CTR, then the first four were very, very well received, especially Crash 1 and 3. Yeah. But I just want to see. I want to see either a remaster of the original 3, or simply a new version that's hopefully made by a Sony studio, not just like a random Activision studio that like just kind of make it maybe a mediocre game rather than the one that's like a true kind of sequel to the original 3.
Okay. Ghost.
Yeah, I'm not going for any like new IPs as such, because I'm not sure what to expect from any of the Sony studios, first-party studios. I'm not really sure what to expect at all. I mean, there was rumors of the Guerrilla, open-world RPG or whatever it is, but any of those sorts of games, I mean, that I don't know about, I can't find myself getting excited for, or like particularly want or look forward to. So for my two I've got here are both sequels to games that I think didn't get it right the first time rounds, but could definitely get it right the second time round, like correcting the mistakes they made. So the first one I've got is Watch Dogs 2 specifically. And that's mainly because I think the game actually does have a lot of potential. I mean, if they get a more exciting main character, or at least develop Aiden Pierce a little more, I think that the story has a lot more potential. And the sort of theme of it in itself is something I find very exciting. The ability to have a mobile phone and be able to access the whole city through that mobile phone and being able to hack everything. It just sounds very exciting. And the way they executed it wasn't the best. I mean, it just got a lot more repetitive, as you got through the game, because you realise that all you could do was control the traffic lights or the the pipes underground. I mean, there wasn't any depth in terms of what you could do with the hacking element of it. So what I'd like to see from Watch Dogs 2, again, improve the story and manage to have a bit more depth, I guess, in terms of the hacking element. Everything else about that game that they did, I actually really enjoyed. I enjoyed the gameplay, I enjoyed the side missions. There was a lot to do, and the online was okay, could have been better, but I still enjoyed that a lot. So I'd like to see Watch Dogs 2.
Okay, well that was actually the one I was going to include as a third option, but yeah, I didn't in the end, but I'm glad you actually brought it up still. Because yeah, I also really want a Watch Dogs sequel. I think they can do a lot of great things with that one. I already found the original quite awesome, but yeah, okay. So my first one is actually Skate 4. I don't think it's really a secret. I've talked about this game quite a few times already. I think the reason why is because I think PS4 right now is really lacking these sort of actual like fun games to play that you can return to every now and then, to just play it for a good couple of hours and it will stay fun even like 2 years later on. The PS3, I still, when I return to it every now and then, I'll put in Skate 2 or Skate 3 and I'll play that, because it's just so much fun to play. I love those games on the PS3. It's really a shame that EA did close down the studio who was responsible for those games, but they actually kind of milked the franchise in a way. When Skate 3 came out, that was like literally a year later from when Skate 2 released, so I did find that really a big shame. I hope Tony Hawk Pro Skater that's coming out this year is gonna be successful, so that EA kind of realizes like, oh, people still want skateboarding games. And then I'll be very happy if they do end up making a Skate 4. I don't see it being announced at this E3 yet. I just hope it's going to happen eventually, because it's totally a game I really want to play. So yeah, Oscar, your next one.
Yeah, so pretty much carrying on from what Ghost was saying about Watch Dogs. Well, a game that's very, very like that in the sense that it was hyped up a lot, but then it kind of sunk down. So I can't speak, but it didn't quite get the reception it should have got. And
Is
I
it
think
Destiny?
It's Destiny. Destiny 2 is a game that I still want to see, and we were discussing this before we started, that Destiny is a game that we'd all like to see a sequel to, because it's a game that should have been so much more than it actually is now. Yeah. And you can see that that Bungie are learning things in the sense that they've released DLC that's now becoming slightly better than what it was originally, and are fixing things that the community had said that was terrible about the game, and everyone knew that they were. But what everyone would like to see, I think, is a sequel to a game which should have been so much better than it is now, and I think that's exactly what Destiny 2 is. And I guess again with Watch Dogs as well, Watch Dogs should have had a much more better reception to what it was. It was a fun concept, but the game just didn't deliver, and that's exactly what Destiny is as well. And I think Destiny 2 is a game that should hopefully deliver in the same way that some games as sequels have. I mean, again, Skate 2 is a game that was renowned as being probably the better out of the 3 games that came out. And so maybe people learn a lot from sequels. Uncharted 2 was a lot better than Uncharted 1. I can't think of many other examples, but lots of sequels are much better than the original games, and that shows that people are learning and the developers are learning from what the community are giving them back in feedback. So hopefully that will be what they learn, what Bungie will learn. They're obviously developing a second game. That game is unreal with the money that's been put into it. So like I'm sure that the sequel will come. Whether that will get announced in like next year E3, I don't actually know when it will be announced, but I can't believe it would be too far away. I'm sure they'll make another one soon. But I'm pretty sure that game will come at some point. But I want to see the improvements in that. I want to see the game become what it can be. But yeah, Ghost, go ahead.
Well, yeah, continuing on the theme of games that weren't great when they originally came out and could definitely get better. I think Robin mentioned this before the video, but was actually joking about it. I've put The Order 1886, or at least it's some sort of a sequel for that. Yeah. There were loads of things wrong with The Order 1886. Most of the biggest thing, I guess, that most people changed or would change if they had the chance was the length. There was just absolutely no substance to that game, that you couldn't do anything after you completed the story. It was such a bare-boned game. There wasn't any online, there wasn't any reason to replay through the story. The story itself I found was a bit dull, although I really like the idea of having these modern weapons in a Victorian setting. And I do like the idea of this sort of body, to deal with all these life forms called the Order. So the game itself, again, the concept was really good, but the execution itself was poor. Of what I did play of the game, of course I completed the campaign through on hard, so even that didn't provide any sort of challenge to, so that's another thing that they could do better, improve the difficulty of it. But of what I did play of the game, of that 6 or 7 hours that it took to complete it, I did enjoy it, and I did find myself a lot of the time just sitting back and admiring the graphics of it, because they were absolutely incredible. Like, I hadn't seen these sort of graphics in a game before, which is really ironic considering a lot of people say the PS4 is underpowered, or the PS4 and the Xbox One is underpowered. When you see a game like that, you realise it's all about optimization, and with that game, that was an incredible looking game, and I think that alone, along with the concept, would definitely make a good enough reason to make The Order 1886 2, although I'm not sure what they would call it.
1887, probably.
Yeah, I guess so. But
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, that's also, it like the sequel to The Order is exactly how I look at, like it could be just the same like Uncharted 2 was compared to Uncharted 1, really. That game also lacked substance, and you saw what kind of like the result was after that, with adding a multiplayer mode and like a longer campaign, and just overall learning from all the mistakes we made with the first one. I have really high hopes from that game as well. But yeah, my final one actually is, and this is a pretty popular choice, I think, I want a sequel to Red Dead Redemption. Very simple, like the game was so successful, it was an awesome Wild West kind of GTA style game. Totally came as a surprise to me. I remember back when it wasn't released yet, I was very hesitant about the setting in general, and then when I got the game I was absolutely blown away by it. I loved Red Dead Redemption as a game, and put probably hundreds of hours into that platinum trophy, of course, and I just all in all thought it was an awesome game, and I would love to kind of like have a similar world again, looking even better, maybe new characters, or you know, whatever they will do with you know, continuing from the story in Red Dead Redemption 1. But with that being said, yeah, you know, Red Dead Redemption 2 definitely a game I really want to happen as well. So with that being said, I think we mentioned all of them. We all listed 2 games. These are the ones we want to see, but of course we want to know from all of you in the comments, what are the games you would really like to see announced that haven't been announced yet? Sequels to either you know, existing games already, or like a new IP from a certain developer that you you know, hold very dear to your heart, or something, or that made some of your favorite games. And then yeah, with that being said, thanks a lot for watching, and we hope to see you again next time.